All right, good evening, everyone. The time is 7:12 p.m. Thank you for your patience. We're going to go ahead and get started with the City Council regular meeting. Announce that a quorum is present. Everyone, please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for waking us up this morning. We thank you for city staff. We thank you for our residents. We thank you for our law enforcement, emergency services people. We thank you for the vendors, just everyone that's in the city, everyone that supports the city. We actually continue to watch over us and keep us, give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding so that we can lead our community towards the future. And thank you for all you're going to do in our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, have a seat. First up, we have a proclamation declaring the month of August 2025 as Emergency Management Awareness and Appreciation Month. One second, pull that up. Let's see, I don't. Oh, is Robbie here? There she goes. Hey, Robbie. Huh? We can take a photo after I read it. I was looking for you. All right. Whereas emergency management is a critical component of community safety, preparedness, response, recovery, mitigation, and prevention. And whereas the city of Manor recognizes the dedication of local emergency management volunteers and partners who work tirelessly to protect our residents, businesses, and environment. And whereas the emergency management professionals in our community develop and implement programs to enhance resiliency and effectively respond to natural hazards, technological incidents, and human-caused emergencies, whereas these emergency managers are responsible for establishing and maintaining the capabilities necessary to support emergency response and recovery efforts within Manor, whereas the efforts of emergency managers and first responders have helped our community prepare for, recover from, and rebuild after emergencies, strengthening our resilience. And whereas the residents, businesses, schools, and organizations of Maine greatly appreciate the service, commitment, and professional emergency management personnel, whereas the emergency management mission areas of prevention, protection, mitigation, response, recovery, and preparedness are vital to our national and local safety and align with the national preparedness goal. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor of the City of Manor, Texas, and on behalf of the Manor City Council, do hereby proclaim August 2025 as Emergency Management Awareness Month and Appreciation Month in the City of Manor, and encourage all residents, businesses, schools, local government agencies, and community organizations within Manor to recognize and honor the unwavering commitment and service of our emergency managers and responders. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Manor to be affixed this 20th day, August 2025. Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor, City of Manor. And we have the awesome opportunity to introduce to some and present to others Ms. Robbie Barrera, our emergency management coordinator.
Thank you. I want to thank Chief Phipps for hiring me to represent the City Council, and the City Council for giving me the opportunity to represent the City of Manor. It's been a blessing. Thank you.
And what did you do before?
I worked for the Texas Division of Emergency Management, and then prior to that, the Department of Public Safety.
There we go.
But before I got here, Chief Phipps was the Emergency Management Coordinator, so I think he needs to stand.
Hold on, let's get a photo.
Y'all want to come down? What do I do now? We're going to take a picture.
Everybody look at this phone, it's better. Everybody up there will agree with me. Well, at least half of you.
Again, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to represent you.
So, I mean, there's a good story about our relationship with I won't go into all details, but with Robbie and the city of Manor, and the short of it is when a lot of us got on council in 2019, we had no idea what was about to happen in the next few months, and so being able to call and get the advice and the guidance in regards to managing COVID and all the stuff that came from that, the Snowvid, the winter storms back to back, and then and just the amount of resources that and contacts that you were able to connect us with and help us to, build community by bringing community in to take care of the community was an awesome experience. And so we're always thankful to have you here and to join the team. And yes, the police was holding us down prior, but good job, Chief. We're going to back up and go to public comments for a quick introduction. So let me read that section real fast. Public comments, non-agenda public comments on white card. Public comments will take from artist member on non-agenda related topics for time not and length of time not to exceed 3 minutes per person. And we do have just a presentation. So, Ms. Tracy Vasquez.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Tracy Vasquez, HR Director here with the city. And I just wanted to introduce everybody this evening to our new Marketing and Communications Coordinator, Ashlyn Taylor.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Ashlyn Taylor. I'm the new Marketing and Communications Coordinator. I'm not gonna lie, sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm very excited to be working with all of you guys. And I do have my business card, so if you guys want to reach out to me with any communications, that way you have a point of contact, I can go ahead and give that to you as well.
Thank you very much. All right. We're going to continue on in our agenda. We have public hearings. Number one, conduct a public hearing on an ordinance annexing 2.274 acres of land, more or less, located in Travis County, including the Buddy Streets, roadways, and right-of-ways, including the corporate limits of the city, at the request of the property owner, and approving an agreement for the provision of services for the annex area. Yes, sir, Mr. Burrell.
Mayor, Council, my name is Michael Burrell, Development Services Director for the City of Manor. This annexation is for the Manor Commercial Park, Lot 7. Lone Star Electric is looking to add an additional lot to their operations for storage and other things of that nature. So they are starting with the annexation process so that they can utilize the property by going through our permitting process.
Questions, comments, council members? If we don't have any questions or comments, then I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item number 1.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving right along to public hearing number 2, conduct a public hearing on a rezoning application for one lot on 5.56 acres, 565 acres more or less, and being TCAD parcel 236976, also known as 14305 East US Highway 290, Maynard, Texas, from A, agriculture to C, to medium commercial. Yes, sir.
Mayor Council, this item is a rezoning from agriculture to C2 medium commercial. The request comes from the applicant wanting to switch to a more intense use. It's currently zoned agricultural because once it was annexed per our code, you are automatically granted agricultural zoning. And as long as you do not change your use or intensify it, you can continue to operate as you were before your annexation. With their desire to change uses to a medical office is the current intent, they need to come into conformance with our code, which would imply updating their zoning.
Questions, comments, council members?
Would this comply with her future use and in that area that
So this area is designated for a commercial corridor. There are challenges with the site pertaining to particularly floodplain. I believe 80 to 90% of it is floodplain. So that's why they're contemplating medical office, because it's not as encumbered with things like parking requirements, impervious coverage, things of that nature. And it would still be a service for the citizens.
Other comments, council members?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item number 2.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Messerly. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And last but not least, we have a conduct a public hearing on a specific use permit for a 5,040 square foot medical office on one lot. Is that correct? Yeah. One lot on 5.56 acres, more or less, and being TCAD parcel 236976, also known as 14305 US Highway 290, Maynard, Texas.
So for this item, I'm actually requesting we leave the public hearing open and postpone the regular item. The zoning has to be completed before the SUP can be considered. The zoning would not be completed if passed tonight until September the 3rd.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we leave the public hearing open for item number 3 until the September 3rd meeting.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Messerly. Any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, council members, next up on our agenda, we have a report. This is the 2025 Maynard Community 5K Update Report. Mr. Derek White, good to see you, sir.
Good to be seen, Mayor. All right, good evening, everyone. First off, I would like to say thank you to the leadership of this great city and the citizens for the ongoing support and confidence. This year, we held our annual Maynard Community Day and 5K, and I think we would all like to see the attendance and excitement of the inaugural event, and I know that we can outperform ourselves. So today, we will go just over the report from this year, along with some of the feedback, and hope to move forward with this in the future. All right, so total registration this year for the 5K, 41. We did not do the Kids K this year. For the financials expenses, Austin Bounce House rentals, $736.61. I use my phone. Something about these eyes, just they're not the way they used to be. All right. So Austin Bounce House rentals, $738.61. Event shirts, $1,618. Finisher medals, $1,392.50. Facebook ads, $250. Off-duty police officers and vehicles, $960. Total paid by Evolution of Health, $4,959.11. The revenue for this year was $1,406. That's $1,326 from registrations and $80 from donations. Number of shirts purchased was 101. Vendors were not charged a fee. The amount due to Evolution of Health per the previous understanding is $1,999.55, which is 50% of the expenses, excluding the cost for the off-duty police officers. Sponsor list and contributions. Black Men's Health Clinic provided support with promotional efforts and vendor procurement. We only had Black Men's Health Clinic and Central Health out there this year. The marketing plan, the event was promoted through multiple channels. The emails were sent to previous attendees via the Run Sign Up platform. Paid advertisements were placed on Facebook and Instagram. Manor leadership promoted the event on their social media networks. The safety plan, the initial safety plan included the presence of Travis County ESD number 12, as well as off-duty officers to manage emergencies. The things to improve for next year, to reserve Saturday, January 6th, 2026 for the next Manor Community Day and 5K, and begin promotional activities as early as possible to maximize community awareness and participation. Adjust the event schedule as follows. Start the 5K at 8 a.m. and the Kids 1K at 10 a.m. This timing will give families ample opportunity to visit vendors, enjoy the inflatables, and take advantage of activities provided by the police department's community trailer. The primary goal of this event is to encourage community engagement with vendors, offering health and wellness services and resources. Evolution of Health will oversee all aspects of the run, and we kindly request the city's support in promoting vendor visits amongst the residents. Shifting the Kids 1K to 10 a.m. and providing additional attractions like inflatables are strategies intended to boost attendance and vendor interaction. However, increased participation in the community day activities is important. Any assistance from the city to encourage greater turnout for this portion of the event will be greatly appreciated. My personal feedback, my primary factor contributing to the lower participation this year was the limited time frame available for planning and promotion. Successfully organizing an event of this scale requires several months of preparation. While the event was still successful, we're committed to making sure that we improve. Drawing from the feedback from the previous year's participants, adjustments were definitely made. Previous year's participants and the city leadership, adjustments were made, including starting the 5K earlier, providing clearer instructions for the race route, including the city's logo on the finisher medals, as well as the t-shirts and other promotions. And if we are able to secure next year's date within the next coming weeks, we anticipate a significantly higher participation for the 2026 event, potentially surpassing the turnout of our inaugural event, which saw 160 runners.
Thanks, sir. Questions, council members?
So it wasn't actually a bouncy house that was provided. It was the arch and the generators and that kind of things that you got from the Austin Bounce House rental?
Yes, ma'am. This year was only the finisher arches.
Other questions? I'll give you, my feedback is, yes, I think we need to start earlier. As you heard, we have a marketing and communications coordinator. I think that will help and assist in that area. So, and I think because we can start earlier, we can work on, the recruitment, the activities that would we actually had those bounce houses earlier. And so the dry and water ones, and maybe seeing if there's we have more local businesses as well since we first started this process, and maybe someone that might want to contribute to the process.
Okay.
So I know that's something that, health team is committee can.
Yeah, I would say health committee had a pretty good meeting with Mr. White and Chief Phipps about next year, and already getting the ball rolling and coordinating some meetings. So that way, we're just going to improve, from here.
And I would also like to offer, if it will help, this is just a thought that just came to mind. I have no problem doing workshops over the course of the next year if it supports your health and wellness initiatives, to come out here and just be another way to make sure we let the citizens know about the upcoming event, as well as support the health and wellness initiatives for the city.
And on a side note, I'm still trying to get my time down. I'm still trying to get it down. But I did good on that one. I
Hey, you did good.
Yeah, I
You
didn't
good.
get this last one, so. If there's no other questions, all right, we'll move on.
Just have a
Yes, ma'am.
comment.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to appreciate Mr. White for listening to the health committee's suggestions to going forward to try to improve and make this a better event and something that the community can get behind and participate in.
So I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda considered to be self-explanatory by council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on items unless requested by mayor or council member, in which event the item will be removed from consent agenda and considered separately. Number 4, consideration, discussion, possible action to approve city council minutes. 5, consideration, discussion, possible action on accepting July 2025 city council monthly reports. 6, consideration, discussion, possible action accepting July 2025 departmental reports. 7, consideration, discussion, possible action on a resolution that declaring the estimated population of permanent residents of the local municipality as of December 31st, 2024. Number 8, consideration, discussion, possible action regarding the interlocal agreement between Travis County, Texas and the state of Maynard, Texas for an emergency law enforcement dispatch services. Number 9, consideration, discussion, possible action on a resolution for participation in the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, and Home Investment Partnerships home programs, approving and ratifying the cooperative agreement for the city. Did we need comments on the 9, or we're good? We're good, okay. All right, so is there a motion on the floor for the consent agenda?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as read.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 10, regular agenda item, first reading, consideration, discussion, possible action on the ordinance annexing 2.274 acres of land more or less located in Travis County, including the abutting streets, roadways, right-of-ways, and the corporate limits of the city at the request of the property owner and approving an agreement for the provision of services for the annex area. Yes, sir.
Mayor Council, this is the Manor Commercial Park Lot 7 with Lone Star Electric. The annexation is for the expansion of their operations. So if there's any questions, I believe they are here in case you have inquiries for them. But other than that, that's all there is to it.
Any additional questions or thoughts, council members? If not, I entertain a motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the first reading of an ordinance annexing 2.274 acres of land, more or less located in Travis County, including abutting streets, roadways, and right-of-way into the corporate limits of the city, at the request of the property owner, and approving an agreement for the provisions of services for the annexed area.
Have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to number 11, first reading, consideration, discussion, possible action on rezoning one lot on 5.565 acres more or less from being TCAD parcel 2369976, also known as 14305 East US Highway 290, Maynard, Texas, from A agriculture to C2 medium commercial. Yes, sir.
Mayor Council, this is the rezoning for the property out east for the medical office.
This is the one we're going to postpone.
That's the next item.
Next.
This item is their zoning, which would then allow them to apply for the specific use permit, but the zoning has to be acquired first before the SUP can be officially accepted.
Is there questions, council members? Being none, I entertain a motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the first reading of an ordinance rezoning one lot on 5.565 acres more or less and being TCAD parcel 236976, also known as 14305 East US Highway 290, Manor, Texas, from agricultural to C2 medium commercial.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesmer. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me do that count again. So I thought I saw your hand go up. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 4-1. Moving on to number 12. Consider discussion possible action on a specific use permit for a 5,040 square foot medical office, one lot on 5.56 acres more or less, and being TCAP parcel 236976, also known as 14305 East US Highway 290, Manor, Texas. This is the one we need a motion until when?
September 3rd.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone item number 12 until our September 3rd meeting.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilmember Moreno. Any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 13, consider discussion of possible action on a license agreement for Manor Commons SE Commercial Lot 8A with Greenview Development 973 LP. Yes, sir.
Mayor, Council, this is a license agreement for the Manor Commons Southeast Commercial. They're constructing drainage improvements, and the license agreement would allow them to then construct it and then the city to go in and maintain any of the public improvements.
Okay. Council members, you have some questions? If there's no questions, council members, I'll entertain a motion.
Did you say that they're going to construct and then the city's going to maintain?
The public improvements, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the license agreement as to form and authorize the city manager to execute once finalized for Manor Commons Southeast Commercial Lot 8A with Greenview Development 973 LP.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesquite. Any questions to the motion? No question to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 14. Consider discussion possible action regarding a waiver request to the City of Manor's Public Improvement District policy for Lagos PID Improvement Area Number 1. On this one, we do have some guests signed up to speak. For this one, Christian Villarreal.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you so much for your time and giving us the opportunity to speak with you today. We do have a presentation here for you guys. We wanted to give you some more background on this project. There has been some time that has passed since assessments were levied, so there are a bit more complexities to this one than the PID we're discussing on the next item. So just some more background on the timeline here. Back in 2019, we levied the assessments on the major improvement area. We came back in 2022 to levy the assessments on improvement area number 1. In March of this year, the developer came back and officially made their request for the bond issuance on improvement area number 1. And of course, last month, July of this year, is when we had the approved PID policy update by the council. On this slide here, I wanted to kind of highlight some key exhibits on the bond docs that we've been reviewing, more specifically the SAP, the Service and Assessment Plan, that we are updating to go along with this bond issuance. This is version 2 that we had prior to the PID policy update. The key figures that I wanted to point out here were the outstanding principal of $2.69 million and the total annual collection cost of $800,000. I'll kind of expand more on why those numbers are important further in the presentation. Next slide here. Same exhibit just for improvement area number 1. Again, the key figures being the outstanding principal. Here it's 3.865 and the total annual collection cost of 1.5 million. As you'll see here, this is the updated major improvement area annual installment exhibit post PID policy update. The key change here is, if you'll remember, the annual collection costs were $800,000. Now we're at 1.9 million because of this update to the PID policy, and that's kind of why what caused us to have some concern and wanted to bring this to your attention. Next is the updated improvement area number 1 installments. The annual collection here is the same as it was in the prior SAP version. So the biggest change was in the major improvement area. But here we have lost a gross outstanding principal for improvement area 1 due to that increase in annual installments. So again, that is what caused our request and the triggered the developer coming forward to request this waiver. It was that decrease in principal. Here is just showing another exhibit from the SAP, kind of outlining the tax rate equivalents here. There was some questions that we had back and forth with your PID administrator with P3, trying to kind of clarify some questions, and again, a lot of complexities because of the time that has passed from assessment levy to today. So they've had definitely a tough job trying to iron all that out with us. So here you'll see on the far right in the bottom right hand corner, in that latest SAP, we were just over the 30-cent tax rate equivalent already. And speaking further with P3, the idea was that they were going to kind of true up those annual installments to make sure that we are at the 30-cent tax rate equivalent with the final number run, which would have impacted the developer's proceeds even further. So again, biggest item from these changes, a 1.1 million increase in that additional admin on the major improvement area. That's increasing the annual installments, which is going to trigger a reduction in improvement area number 1's gross principal. Here it's 225,000. That final number might have been even more once we trued up those assessments to get back down to a true 30-cent tax rate equivalent. And that is, a material impact to the developer and their project. So our request to the council is kind of twofold. One, with the additional administrative fee per single family lot, we're requesting that it be the $65 amount that you have kind of thought about previously. We are requesting that you do move forward with the 65 a lot, but we are requesting that you limit it to 5 years rather than the remaining outstanding term of the assessments. Our position is that the additional admin and staff time that is involved for continuing disclosure reviews, draw request reviews, and approvals, we believe those should fall off after 5 years, and that staff time will no longer be needed to be spent, and so the additional admin would no longer be necessary at that time. We're also requesting that we approve the waiver from the 30-cent tax rate equivalent maximum up to 31 cents to help make the developer whole and to address the additional admin that they are experiencing. And that is the last of our slide for this one. Do you guys have any initial questions that I can help answer at this time?
Any question from council members?
So the fees and the work that it takes for the city to manage these PIDs, if we waive that fee, that would lean towards our constituents having to take on that cost.
In this instance, because assessments have already been levied, that is a possibility, yes, that if you're saying you waive the tax rate equivalent, that is correct. So the assessments would have to go up equally to match that 31 cents, but that is to account for that additional admin.
Not a fan of that, doing that.
I understand, and that's where we're trying to kind of do this in a win-win, where we understand that the city and the council has had some additional administrative costs, but we also want to help make the developer whole as well.
Other questions, council members? Okay. Tonight, is, council, we have, it's about giving direction, and I think this comes back on September 3rd. Is that correct?
Mayor, council member, Veronica Rivera, Assistant City Attorney. Yes, this is had been postponed in order to give everyone time to take a look at what was being proposed. What we are asking though tonight is for you to consider the request that you just heard to determine if that is something that you are in favor of, and if you are, then that way we can actually come back on the 3rd with revised numbers, because both the SAP, the Service and Assessment Plan, and the PLUM, the Preliminary Limited Offering Memorandum, will need to be updated. So if this is something that you're considering, then let us know so that we can move forward with that. If it is not something that you're considering or something else, this is where we would like direction from City Council so that the developer is aware as well on what revisions we're going to be making to the SAP and the PLUM, so that then this can come back to you on September 3rd. And we do have consultants here for the city if you'd like, if you have any additional questions. We have your financial advisor, we have your bond counsel, and PIT administrator and consultant.
Questions?
No question, just commenting, agreeing with Councilman and Weir, you know, about putting that burden on our constituents, you know, and as we discussed before, wanting the PITs to be able to pay for themselves, right?
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Item number 15. Consideration, discussion, possible action regarding a waiver request to the City of Manor Public Improvement District policy for New Haven PID Improvement Area Number 1. And on this one, we do have a guest, council members. See, Christian Villarreal, did you want to speak again? And then after you, we'll have Tally Williams.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Again, my name is Christian with DPFG. I'm representing the developer for the New Haven PID as well. It's another project that is being impacted by the PID policy updates. This one, there's a little bit less complexities because assessments haven't been levied yet. So showing you guys the PID analysis was a little bit simpler of a way of showing that direct impact. This one, similar to the prior one, the admin, of course, has increased from this change. The total increase on this one was closer to $700,000 rather than the $1.1 million on the other project. However, the impact to the developer on this project was $375,000 lost in gross principal, which is, again, another significant impact to the developer. There were some delays in the process. The developer's been working with you guys to move this forward, and we had had some pauses for the PID policy update to consider what the council was presenting. So similar ask here, we are asking that the 65 lot admin, $65 per lot admin be charged here, again for a 5-year term, given the extent and then the intensity of admin being less after that 5 years. However, here we're requesting up to a 31.3 cent tax rate equivalent because it is a greater delta between before and after this change was made.
My comment is the same. It's the same. It's going to be the same thing. And, this is just to shows the one did it, one wants this type of a consideration, and then another one. And then I just don't want to create that kind of atmosphere because I don't want the constituents to bear that. The PIDs are supposed to be able to support themselves, and it's not supposed to be a burden on our citizens, and I'm not in favor of that at all.
We understand, and the reason for the request is because we were so far along in the process under the old policy that this was kind of a shock to the developers coming in at this time with that change. We do have our PID attorney here as well to speak.
Other questions, comments? Oh, actually, we got one more presentation. Yes, Ms. Talley, I'm sorry.
Hi, good evening. Tally Williams with Metcalf, Wolf, Stewart, and Williams. Christian took some of the words right out of my mouth, but I think that's what I mainly wanted to talk about tonight is we can run through the numbers, you know, on the request for the increase in that max or that tax rate equivalent. But I think that the concern that you're hearing from our client on this project is that the rules were changed during the process. And so that's made it very challenging for us. So just to throw out some dates, we submitted our PID petition on this deal back in 2022. So we've been in process for a couple years. Our bond issuance request was submitted in October of 24. So, you know, there's a lot of things that go into these deals. We have lined up construction financing, builders, I mean, you name it. We have put in a lot of work and a lot of time on this deal. And so now we are having to completely rework everything because of a policy change that got made midstream. So I just wanted y'all to hear that from our standpoint, that, you know, we're not just up here fussing because everyone is, you know, our clients are probably going to have to take a hit on this. It's the manner in which it was done and the timing in which it was done. So I hear what you guys are saying about your constituents having to take a hit, but it's going to be our homeowners who have to take the hit, or it's going to be our client who has already lined things up based on what set of financials, and now that's changing midstream. So that's a tough one for us to swallow. If we weren't already in the process and we had not already, you know, we formed a PID under this policy, and now we're being told, hey, you got to change and go a different way. That's the issue.
So during the whole PID process, are you telling me if I was to review records and look over things that there was no thing that, I mean, you're saying, as I understand it, there were things that were done that probably shouldn't have been done. There was timing things. There was other things that went on that caused some mitigating circumstances as well. This is just one part of it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, there's always things that go on both sides, but I think the best way I can explain it is like, you know, we went into something thinking this was the rules, right? We go in saying this is the policy that we're under, and now the policy's changed. So our rule book changed midstream, and that's what's hard. There was delays on both sides. It was just the timing in which this all hit. And we're not as far along as the other project, but it's still it's a hard place to be. I mean, we had documents ready to go and ready to move forward on the financing. So
okay, can we hear from our people on why the change was necessary, so that it can possibly be better understood why this came into effect when it did and why we're asking for it? Because
I think we need to lead with the PID committee, because what we did was council charged staff and in our committees to go through a process of evaluating projects to ensure that projects are sustaining. We've had, we've dived into the economic development conversations, and what we've seen is how the historical components of how city government has gone in our city for a lot of years is they've been very costly on the back end to city government, which then has now become costly to the residents here in Manor. And so as we are diving into the root causes and the historical context of why certain things have, and it's continued this journey that we started back in 2019. Root cause analysis, understanding why financials, certain things are the way they are, and then problem solving. I think what not only this but other areas and or maybe responses to that. And so that the work was, we charged the PID team. We've charged our directors and our managers to try to figure out a way forward so that when we bring in projects that they're self-sustaining. We've also challenged ourselves to find new and innovative ways to do projects, and really getting back to understand the law or the purpose and intent of economic tools. And when we exercise economic tools, it should not indebt us. And I think that's the crux of what kind of jump started this process was not necessarily saying today's meeting is what we wanted, but the idea of bringing forth projects that are meet the purpose and intent, that are mutually beneficial, but definitely do not tax the system. We've had conversations in the executive session about other projects that, because of what people are doing in other places, have caused harm. And so we've been asked and elected to do what's right in the best interest of the residents. So I think that's the context. That's the direction that we gave city staff, and then city staff has responded either to us directly or through committee. Hey, these are some of the findings. And so then committee has then informed us, an executive or city staff, and hey, well, these are principles, and these are the things that's best for the community. And I think that's how we're at right now, and while we're soliciting information and feedback from the PID partners in regards to, hey, what's your request, and those kind of things. So like legal said, so we can review those things and then give them direction in either way from that. So that's kind of the historical.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Other questions, comments? Okay. Oh. All right. Number 16, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a selection of a, yes, ma'am.
Mayor, council members, on those two items, if you could just let us know whether those are acceptable requests, or if we move with what we had previously. And if that's something that you'd like to just provide direction to city staff, and city staff gives us that information either tomorrow or later on this week, because again, we're needing to provide those changes to the SAP and the plums for both those items, and those items were postponed until September 3rd. The developers had requested that they come and provide you that information, which you had requested and postponed from the last meeting, so that they had an opportunity to speak. But we are needing direction so that we can update that SAP and the plum for both projects.
What are y'all?
My direction would be to continue as planned, as what we propose.
Which is the $65, which was staff's recommendation.
Yes, my staff recommendation.
Okay.
Okay.
Agree.
Well, let me just make sure so that everyone hears and it's for the record. So the direction is staff recommendation was $65 through the life of the PID, and no tax increment increase, because that's what we were hearing from City Council.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Number 16, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a selection of a developer for the Main and Town Square project based on the City of Maine request for qualifications and proposals. Main and Town Square project development services originally issued March 28, 2025. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. Scott Jones, Economic Development Director, City Manor. Seems like it was end of last year when I came to y'all and asked you if we could go out for an RFQ on this City Hall and Library project. So here we've come a long way. Have before you a request we put out in, I think March 28th, we put out an RFPQ to solicit for developers to submit their qualifications to provide financing and pre-development and development services for Manor Town Square development, new City Hall, public library, and public parking garage, and the infrastructure needed to develop that facility. And we were needing a progressive development method and some unique financing involved. And we secured responses back to that RFPQ. We went through those, and through our processes, we have a very selective and rather thorough method of evaluating those responses, and went through those. We had a period of questions that we responded to, and we went through very thoroughly. I think City Council's been involved quite a bit in this. Went out and took tours of the various facilities that the two finalists respondents had sent us as examples of their work, and then we came down to those two finalists and went back and asked additional questions of them and got their responses back, and we came down to a final staff recommendation. We think that final respondent is Hunt Development Group, and city staff is going to request that Hunt Development Group be the final selection, that you actually ask for the city manager to be that you give the responsibility for the contract negotiation to go to the city manager to execute. We have a final exclusive negotiating agreement that is almost complete, except for a few missing exhibits and such, and we've gotten down to that stage. So legal has negotiated that agreement just about completely. We just have a couple of exhibits and probably a sit-down conversation with the developer just to get a few things ironed out, a few budgetary issues and things like that before the city manager can execute the agreement. So we have the developer here and the whole development team, actually, if y'all have any questions, but with that, I'll leave it to your discretion.
Questions, comments, council members?
And this is just for the City Hall, the library, and the public parking, correct?
Yes, ma'am. We can follow up at any time that you like. We can have a discussion soon about the recreation center and the placement of that facility as well, and we can follow up with another RFP on the tails of this facility. We go through the same process, and we can make it a quicker process. Hopefully very quick.
Other questions, council members? I'll take questions or a motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve and select Hunt Development Group as the developer for the Manor Town Square project, approve the exclusive negotiation agreement as to form, and authorize the city manager to execute the final negotiated agreement.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilwoman Weir. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Number 17, consideration, discussion, possible action on the Fourth Amendment of the letter of intent for the purchase of 8.43 acres of land out of the 84.3 acre tract of land situated in the AC Caldwell Survey Abstract 154 in Travis County. Yes, sir.
Yes, we also have on this project, the master community project, Manor Town Square, the letter of intent for the city hall. Because it has taken some additional time, that original letter of intent that we have extended a couple of other times, well, actually 3 other times, was going to expire in mid-September. So to give some extra time to get the P3 developer on board and to get them negotiating with we're going to have to take some steps here because the final development plan for the Manor Town Square development has not been completed. We're going to have to make sure we locate the city hall exactly where we want it, and so we expect that may take a little extra time to define exactly the metes and bounds of the parcel that we want to buy. So we're asking you to execute this Fourth Amendment, which we have prepared, and it's signed by the master developer, Shenandoah Development Group. We're asking you to give this Fourth Amendment just to give us a little extra time to make sure that we have that parcel that we want to put this city hall on. We have to probably redesign the city hall a little bit, just depending on, we're talking with bond counsel about this, but we may have to redesign it a little bit, shape and form and such. And so we want to make sure that the shape and everything is right and that the size of the parcel is exactly right. So it may shift a little bit and such, just depending on the final outline and shape of the building. So to get all that right, we want to extend this LOI a little bit so that we get all the, you got to have the right lot shape to fit the right size building on. We don't know exactly the shape of the building right now. So this is to extend that a little bit. We put a December date on there. We don't expect it to take that long at all.
Questions, comments, council members? Not, I entertain a motion.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Fourth Amendment to the letter of intent as to form for the purchase of approximately 8.43 acres of land out of an 84.30 acre tract of land situated in the AC Caldwell Survey, Abstract 154, in the Travis County, and authorize the city manager to execute the amendment once finalized.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you all. We're off and running.
Thank you. Good to see you, sir, in the audience. We're going to move to item number 19. We're going to jump 18 for a second. Consideration, discussion, possible action on acceptance of City of Manor, Texas Annual Financial Report and Independent Auditors Report, year ended September 30, 2024. Ms. Ma'am, you going to introduce our guests as well?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we provided, Mayor and City Council, we provided a book, which is the September 30, 2024 report. And Mr. Jeremy Myers from Actually and Associates is here to make the presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor, City Council, Jeremy Myers with Action Associates. I serve as the audit partner for the annual financial audit for the City of Manor. We did issue the audit effective July 31st of 25. We did issue an unmodified or clean opinion, so it's another good quality clean audit. I would say Belen is really heavy lifting on this. I think we were here in October, November last year. So we're here a little bit earlier. We continue to hope to speed that process up as well. The audit, I always like to focus on the MD&A piece of your financial statements. It really does show more of what the city is doing. And it's the only place that shows a comparison to how you did last year. So in the audit itself, I'm starting with the numbered page 8. And it is the kind of condensed balance sheet, if you would, between the governmental and business activities. The bigger highlights here is you had an increase in assets of a little over $70 million. Some of that was due to bond issuances. There was overall debt issuances a little over $50 million, of which there's still about $41 million left as of September 30th. To go along with that, so your assets went up 70 million, your liabilities only went up 50 million or 58 million. So you have a net kind of positive net income of about $12 million citywide. So I'd say it's pretty healthy. And it's in line with how it was last year. So in looking at the next page, page 9, you'll see that revenues, charges of services went up about 5.7 million. Your tax revenue went up about 1.8 million. Your interest income on all the bond funds that y'all have in interest-bearing accounts went up $1.4 million. Overall revenue went up about 8.2 million. Overall expenses only went up 6.5. So again, still a positive, increase in revenue versus the increase in expenses. Again, the net between the 2 years, 11.9 million versus 11.1 million. So your overall net change is very consistent and also still about $800,000 more than it was last year. So again, that's kind of the only place in the financials that you get to see that. So that's why I wanted to direct your attention there. It just shows the city's, and continued growth. Nothing slowing down by any means. The next page is page 10. One thing I wanted to highlight on page 10 is the very bottom of it, area titled Capital Assets. This is the city's investment in land, construction and process, streets, wastewater. That increase was $36 million. So the city's growth is there. Y'all are helping kind of build that backbone for the services the city needs. The next page, page 11, again, just kind of breaks out your capital assets and your debt. And then it has a little bit of a highlight to the budget. So the budget for 2026 or 2025, the 24-25 year, the overall expenditures for the general fund are expected to increase 2.6 million to have a balanced budget there. So any questions on those kind of few pages? I know it's a lot to take in.
Mayor, Council, I would say that the policies that we put in place, financial policy that we brought to you, is consistent with some of the things that was missing in the past. So knowing that we put that policy in place is going to allow us to really continue down the path of being able to budget and work within the means that with the allocation that's set aside for the city overall. And so any other adjustments that we make for revenues or fees is more tied to just to make sure we keep up with cost of service. And if we can stay within that, hopefully next year's audit will be able to reflect another adjustment that we've made just to make sure we don't have a dip into the reserves, but just make sure we can just budget and stay within that throughout the fiscal year.
And I have one final page to cover. It's a little farther back in the book. It's page 58. That is your general fund budget to actual. Again, kind of that's what y'all are looking at on a day-to-day basis. Big areas here is you get to see per line item kind of where you were on your budget. Your license and permits were up $1.2 million. Your fee for services are up about $686,000. So that's the kind of the growth things that the city is doing to keep services up, to keep kind of everything as it needs to be. Overall revenues above budget by about 3.7 million. Overall expenses were above budget by about 370,000. So again, the deltas there are pretty staggering. You have kind of net positive of $4 million better than budget. So it's, again, you know, as y'all budget, as you're looking at it, y'all understand expense wise, very conservative, very close to those. Revenues, you know, maybe y'all are kind of keeping the expectations low, but at the same point in time, doing really well. So. But just wanted to let y'all know it's a clean audit as it has been. We did not have any findings. We are kind of working with Belen and staff on a recommendation for a fixed asset or capital asset tracking system. As y'all are growing that much, we've got to put something into place to help manage that as well. So, but if y'all have any questions, I'm here to answer. If not, y'all can always reach out to us. Happy to chat with y'all whenever y'all'd like.
Questions, council members?
Just a comment. Thank you, Belen and your staff, for the work that went into this. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I do want to mention that the recommendation for these fixed assets in the past years has been they have it in Excel, but we are migrating to a new version of Inco. The thing is that Inco takes almost 2 years for the migration process. So we're getting those modules, the fixed assets, purchase orders, the HR, the time and attendance. So we there, you know, according to the calendar, we should have everything by April of next year. But at least we advancing, you know, we're making those changes. That way we have everything in one system instead of just Excel.
Thank you much.
Okay.
That's positive news.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's just Inco that takes, you know, too long to go through the process.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just say to echo the investment that we're making in ourselves and in the system. We want the taxpayers to know that, you know, we get the allocation, but we want to show this time of year that there's not waste. I mean, there's some other things we can do to streamline some things, but with time and with additional resources, the efficiencies will be gained. So, you know, just thank the taxpayers for being able to trust where we're at, and hopefully other projects that we get approved will allow us to be able to achieve more savings, but also grow with the demand with as the community as we meet those growth demands to provide more services.
Any other questions, council members? If not, I entertain the motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve and accept the City of Manor Tax Annual Financial Report and Independent Auditor's Report year-end September 30th, 2024.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilwoman Mesquite. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Can we keep going to 20 and 21? All right. Number 20, consideration and discussion possible action on adopting the ordinance of City of Manor, Texas, approving for the 2025 annual update to the service assessment plan and assessment roll for Lagos Public Improvement District, including the collection of the 2025 annual installments.
Mayor and City Council, this is an update for the previously approved pit for the Lagos. Every year we have to present it to City Council for any updates.
Council members, and any questions about the update provided? If not, I'll entertain the motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve and adopt ordinance number 794 of the City of Manor, Texas, approving the 2025 annual update to the service and assessment plan and assessment role for the Lagos Public Improvement District, including the collection of the 2025 annual installments.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Council members, 21 is consideration, discussion, and possible action on adopting ordinance for the City of Manor, Texas, approving the 2025 annual update to the service and assessment plan, assessment rules for the Manor Heights Public Improvement District, including the collection of 2025 annual installments. Do you have any questions on this particular one?
Yeah, this is the same as the previous one. It's just a annual update.
If there's no questions on this one, on this update, then I'll entertain the motion. I'll take questions or motion.
Anything significant that stood out for this particular update?
Oh, Andrea. Oh, he's right.
Mayor and Council, I'm Andrea Barnes with P3 Works. We serve as the city's PIT administrator. And sir, there are no significant changes from one year to the next. This update includes updates to the 5-year service plan, so that runs for 5 years. As 1 year drops off, another year comes on. So we maintain that 5-year period that's required by state statute. It also includes the assessment roll, Mayor, in which you mentioned when you read the item. And so it is approval of that assessment roll that will be submitted to the county if you approve the item tonight, and they will include it in their billing that they do in October. And then it also includes the buyer disclosures that are also required by state statute. And so those buyer disclosures are the responsibility of the developers and the home builders to provide those to any potential home buyers for the properties within that development. P3 prepares those every year as part of the annual service plan update. You approve them as part of the service plan update, but they are the responsibility of the developers and home builders to ensure that the property owners receive those. And Mr. Mayor, I'll be happy to answer any specific questions you might have.
Oh, no.
Was that someone else? Sorry.
You're fine. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is that what you needed, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you.
Other questions, council members? If not, I entertain the motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve and adopt ordinance number 795 of the City of Manor, Texas, approving the 2025 annual update to the service and assessment plan and assessment roll for the Manor Heights Public Improvement District, including the collection of the 2025 annual installments.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. And Rose Hill. Consideration, discussion, and possible action on adopting the ordinance of the City of Manor, Texas, approving the 2025 annual update to the service and assessment plan for assessment roll for the Rose Hill Public Improvement District, including the collection of the 2025 annual installments. Any questions about this one, council members? Give me a chance to double check. And if there's no questions, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 796 of the City of Manor, Texas, approving the 2025 annual update to the service and assessment plan and assessment roll for the Rose Hill Public Improvement District, including the collection of the 2025 annual installments.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, ma'am.
Two more.
We're on to the next one. Setting of the public hearing for the 2025-26 proposed annual budget.
Yes, Mayor and City Council, this item is to set a date for the public hearing. There's just one hearing required, and it's for the 25-26 proposed annual budget, and the hearing date is for September the 3rd.
Do we have a motion on the floor?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion to hold a public hearing on the fiscal year 2025-2026 proposed annual budget on September 3rd, 2025.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. So considering discussion and possible action on setting a public hearing for 25-26 proposed property tax rate. Same date, September
Yes,
3rd, 7 p.m.
The
Yes,
same
ma'am.
day, September the 3rd.
Is there a motion on the floor, council members?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we hold a public hearing on the fiscal year 2025-2026 proposed property tax rate on September 3rd, 2025.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. We still have 18 and a few others. We're going to do those after executive session. City Council will now convene to executive session pursuant to the provisions of Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. City Council will now reconvene to open session pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code. Take action, if any, on items discussed in closed executive session. Council members, we're going to jump back up to item number 18, consideration discussion, Possible action on the ordinance of the city of Manor, Texas, authorizing insurance of tax notes, series 2025, and enacting provisions incident and related to the issuance of said notes. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Today we had bids due at noon for 8,820,000 tax notes, and we put everything under the sun in the description of the bonds: roads, streets, sidewalks, water, wastewater, drainage. We covered our bases there, so when you're ready to decide exactly what projects they are, we've covered everything. We received 6 bids, and 2 banks gave us several options, so we have 6 bids and 9 different proposals. So it's a little bit different. We give them the opportunity to provide us with a different interest rate with a different call date. And a call date is like where you, I'm going to talk about refunding a house if you're refinancing your house or something. So if your interest rates drop, you want to be able to refinance that at a lower interest rate and have that opportunity to do that. The lowest bid that we got was from South State Bank, which is your local depository bank. However, their call date had a premium call, meaning it was going to cost you more to call that bond in 2028 than most of the other bids that were given to us. There was one other premium call, but their rate was much higher. The option that I think that you should take that I recommend is the Webster Bank bid. They bid a 377 with an 8/15/28 call at 100%, meaning there's no premium. And if you look down the column, they have some legal fees. We had to look at actual cost for each issue. So if you look at their legal fees, there's no paying agent fee. Everybody's paying the Municipal Advisory Council fee. Then I put the total principal and interest for each bond issue down there, and then the total cost based on their legal fees, if they had a paying agent fee, and what that total cost would be. So the total lowest cost with a shortest call was Webster Bank that gave you the best option. And that bid was the 377, and your total cost down there was like $10,182,981. If you add the premium call into the South State Bank bid, you can see that that's higher because the interest on that premium call is over $100,000. So the difference between those 2 bids is $66,000 and some odd change. So therefore, I recommend that you take the Webster bid because it's the best option with the shortest call without a premium and the lowest cost overall.
Questions, council members?
How will this affect our bonding capacity for our future projects?
You've got a lot of capacity. You've got growth that you've had from January to now that's not even included in the projections that we've used to do this bond issue. So you're fine.
Thank you.
It made me nervous yesterday. I didn't have any calls. I was like, wait, am I not getting any bids? And I called one of the bankers. He said, everybody's got this. Nobody, not even one call. But we gave them all the information up front, plus your AA1. So, it was not a hard deal for them.
And the decision doesn't go into effect until we actually start using it.
I'm sorry?
It doesn't go into effect until we use it, correct? The dollars, like when we select the bank and stuff like that, it still it sits until we use it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
This is an out-of-state bank, but they bid on a lot of stuff. This is it's in Georgia.
Okay.
A Texas boy that's in Georgia.
Other questions, council members? take questions or a motion. Take questions or a motion. While we're waiting on council members' thoughts. This is, I think, for you for our budget coming up. Is this already included in the budget options?
Yes, 1.5 payment.
Okay.
Interest.
And it's lower than that.
Okay.
But that's the amount we calculated.
Yeah. We had to have an estimate, so.
Okay.
So anything that is is over, we can use it for the following year, 26, 7. Any excess collections.
Questions, comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance number 793 of the City of Manor, Texas, authorizing the issuance of tax notes series 2025 and enacting provisions incident and related to the issuance of said notes.
I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Well, I was seconded by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you all.
Moving right along, we're going to jump down to 26, consideration, discussion, possible action on amendment to the contract for city manager services.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Tracy Vasquez, HR Director with the City of Manor, and we are presenting consideration and discussion and possible action on the amendment to the city manager's contract.
Council members, anybody have a question about the changes discussed? Any additional questions? If not, I entertain a motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the amendment to the contract for the city manager services.
Motion on the floor by Councilwoman Weir. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any questions to the motion? Questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. 25, consideration, discussion, possible action on the third amendment to the development agreement for Trotter Glen. Councilmember, we have a guest here, Mr. Blake Ellis.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Here tonight on behalf of Los Entradas Development Corporation, some leftover business from the last bond issuance. We both parties discovered that we had not sorted out the conveyance of 2 tracks that had been added to the second amendment to the development agreement, and so we've been trying to come to an agreement on the timing and method of conveyance of those tracks. I delivered an updated draft of the third amendment to the development agreement to Ms. Rivera earlier today, and what we can do at this point is convey track number 1 to the city by the end of this month. That would be fully clear of any and all liens. We'll have a recorded release of lien by August 31st at the latest, and can convey that to the city. As for track 2, I understand the city's position that you do not wish to move forward with the process for improvement area 2 until that tract is conveyed. So at this time, we can't make any. What we can say is that within 24 months, we expect to be in position to convey that tract. My client has gone to great efforts to free up the first tract, and would just like the opportunity to just wait on the bond issuance for IA improvement area number 2. But we can represent that he will request that bonds be issued for improvement area number 2 within 24 months, which is similar to the arrangement that we had under the previous amendment.
Okay. With any questions for Mr. Ellis?
It's a silly question, but is that the best that can be done? The 24 months, the extra, making it for the track 2?
Yeah, so I think, we would hope that it could be sooner. That it's just that, we don't want to put something in an agreement and then not be able to fulfill that obligation. Honestly, I would hope that it could be closer to 18 months, but again, just don't want to overcommit when, cash flow, he wants to get, improvements on the ground. He wants to be able to draw from the construction bond trust funds, kind of go about business and be able to build back up some cash in order to release the liens or make a payment in lieu of conveyance to the city. So just asking for that time to do that. The construction bond trust funds limit his ability. I mean, he's got to use those for improvements. He can't just take that money and then put it towards releasing liens. So this just allows time to replenish finances to have the flexibility to do that. But yes, hopefully closer to 18 months. But again, don't want to come back up here and ask for another extension because we were aggressive in saying that.
And another extension means another amendment? Is that the same thing?
No, I have no idea. My point is we don't want to go down that road. We have the obligation to provide the 2 tracks. We intend to fulfill that, but under what we talked about today, those conditions.
Any other questions for Ms. Ellis? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, council members, on item 25, I think tonight we're not going to take any action. And, yeah, I think that's it. Time is 10:34 p.m. and this meeting is now adjourned.